Good evening, everybody, and how are you all doing today? This is your boy MarkN MUFCFAN, and I'm live here to present to you guys a breakdown to the manager's press conference that happened at midday today, guys. And I wasn't able to do the press conference on my channel, but I did a cap with MUFC Realist TV's Mick, so you can check that out. But I have to get my boy Drex's opinions on these topics, so you know I had to bring him into the stream. He's gonna be in shortly, guys. What are your thoughts? What are you thinking? There's been a lot of questions for Erik ten Hag today, and maybe some good questions, maybe some nice questions. Are the media getting soft and warming up to Erik? You know, what do we know, guys? Let's get into the manager's press conference, and right after that, me and my buddy Drex, we're gonna get right in the building and let you all know how it's gonna go down. Oh, Drex is back. Yo, bro, what's going on?
Yo, I'm good. How are you doing?
Chilling. Well, let's get right into the press conference, my bro. And then after, we're gonna let everyone, comment. We're gonna talk about the questions, and you're gonna give me your opinions on what you think, right?
Of course.
All right, let's get right into the press conference, guys.
Welcome to our press conference ahead of our Premier League game against West Ham United tomorrow. First section is embargoed until 12:30 p.m. Simon Peach.
Hi, Erik.
Hi.
Happy Christmas in advance. Anybody available?
As well?
Anyone available for West Ham that was unavailable for Liverpool?
Now we have some doubts, but we have some illnesses during the week, so we have to see who's available for tomorrow. Hopefully they are recovered, but yeah, we have to see.
You said in Copenhagen that you didn't expect to see Casemiro or Lisandro Martinez back before Christmas when we're in Denmark. Just wondering what the update with those two are at the moment.
Yeah, so they are not available before Christmas, so that will be mid-January. We expect them back.
With the other defenders, because obviously you had Willy Camboala on the bench at Liverpool because of the, I guess, defensive shortages. Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof. Any update on them, and Mason Mount? The timescale on him at the moment.
Mason Mount similar into January. Harry Maguire, I expect him early on, and Victor Lindelof is not available, and he has done a surgery, so he will be out for a couple of weeks.
What happened there?
What happened? He had a problem, and so personal is that, but he has to do the surgery.
You haven't scored for 3 games, and you're one of the lowest scorers in the Premier League. I know in the past you've defended Rasmus Højlund, and it's not just about one player, but why are you struggling to score goals so much?
Oh, first of all, I think we played very strong teams with Liverpool and Bayern Munich. That's obvious, and then before we had a poor game, as we have seen. But I think, there are always issues, but we know also we have to improve. And so in our game, I think we played very good at Bayern Munich and against Liverpool, but we should have created more chances, and then of course we should have been more clinical in such moments.
Is it about getting more players into scoring situations, or do you believe you're creating the chances, just not taking them?
I think we can definitely improve. So it's not about one player, but it's about a totally group of us. So as you know, my philosophy, we have to attack with 11. So it's not only about one player, but it's about everyone. And we have to get the movements better. The decisions, so the ball decision making on the ball has to be better. and sometimes also we have to be more clinical. I think the best chance on Sunday in Liverpool was ours, and it was a great attack.
Erik, the European Super League is back on the agenda this week. What do you make of the revised concept, the new format with promotion and relegation?
I refer to the statement the club brought out yesterday.
The club's position's clear, obviously. The court have ruled, though, essentially it's changed the footballing landscape in some way, shape or form. Do you think that change is inevitable within European football at some point in the future?
So I have to look then in more detail if I want to express an opinion about that.
And can I just ask you about January, about transfers? Do you know yet whether you're going to have money to spend? Do you want to strengthen the squad next month?
So the current squad, so I'm happy. So as we get our players back, I'm sure we have a good squad. I think a lot of our, the way it went in the first season of the reasons behind, because many players were not available, and I'm sure when all the players are available on board, and it looks like, as I said, Casemiro will be back, Martinez will be back, Mason Mount will be back. We will be much stronger after the winter.
Ian.
Erik, just to pick up on what Simon was asking you about before with the lack of goals, I understand it's not just about one player, but Rasmus Højlund is a very young man. He's come to a big club, a different league, a different country, and not scored in the Premier League yet. I just wonder how personally you think he's coping with the pressure and going so long without a first goal in the league.
Yeah, of course we are open, and also he is open, and I think his mentality is great, and I think he's a very good performer under stress, and he deals with that. But it's not only about Rasmus Højlund, it's also about Marcus Rashford, it's also about Garnacho, it's also about Anthony, it's also about Bruno Fernandes, and it's also about Scott McTominay. So there are many, and don't forget our fullbacks, who has to be a big part in that. I'm sure we work on that fact as a group, from offensive players or who are in offensive, who are contributing there or who should contributing there, and I'm sure we will improving, and especially if our squad is full accompanied, and then it's better in balance, and then we should create more chances.
You've had a free week this week, which is rare for Manchester United, especially this season. What difference does that make to you and the team heading for this challenge against West Ham?
First of all, we had such a busy program, and so we gave the lads some days off, also because we go in a busy week again with 3 games. So they needed, from physical approach, they needed a rest, get away from football also mentally, and so I now expect them, they are fresh, and we can go in that week, in a massive week, that is a great opportunity for us, and with the good result in Liverpool in our back, and that will give the team confidence, and we can compete with the best teams in this league, and now we have to get forward, and so we have to make next steps, and we have to demand more from each other to make that step forward.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll take a final question in this section from a special guest. Nigel Flanagan is a United fan who runs Operation Christmas Present, which has donated 26,000 gifts to children in hospital on Christmas days for many years. So we want to say well done, thank you, and tell us your question for Erik ten Hag.
Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
Busy period coming up soon with lots of games. Are you going to be able to have some time off with your family? Have you got any plans?
Oh yeah, we have my plans, but it has to be around the games, because the games that will be my main point, my key point to focus on. As I just said, we have 3 big games to play in this week. Really looking forward. It's always a massive period for any club in the Premier League, but definitely now for us. So yeah, we will focus on that, and but there will sometimes in the spare time there is some time to join in my family and to have some time together and to celebrate Christmas.
Thanks, Nigel.
Thank you.
Welcome to our press conference ahead of our Premier League.
So that has been the press conference, my bro. What are you thinking?
First of all, I'm gonna say Merry Christmas to all the Manchester United fans out there, and a beautiful and prosperous 2024 to you guys. We hope we get to do well in the new year, right? We get the club sold and everything, and also a Merry Christmas to Erik Ten Hag and his team, as well as the players and their family. I like the way his head is really sparkly and shiny, neatly shaded for the weekend games. But let's jump into the press conference itself. It was the questions were not that bad, apart from the one that I feel like they were trying to pick on Rasmus. But the first guy that actually asked the question about goal scoring, right? I think he was trying to create something which the manager quickly debunked, right? But that being said, yeah, he's a journalist, he's allowed to do his job.
So the first question, like, I'll just bring it up on the screen. Is anyone available for West Ham who weren't available against Liverpool?
Well, yeah, he
mentioned that he just mentioned that Luke Shaw and Maguire is still unavailable. Lindelof is not available as well.
Yeah.
Casemiro, as well as Mason Mount, as well as Lisandro Martinez. So these are the first two questions. We heard that Victor Lindelof had surgery. Maguire might be the first one to be back, but maybe in the next week or in the next week. So what are your thoughts on that? How do you feel about that?
I like, yeah, it is what it is. We all knew from the time Lisandro and Casemiro were sustained their injury that it was going to be a lengthy spell out on the injury table, right? So we all kind of expected them somewhere. Maybe I expected them after Christmas, right? Because guess what? Why rush them in during this period? Right, the season can't get any worse than it is already. So instead of rushing this guy in this kind of the festive period where we have like 3 games in about 10 days or 12, so I'll just keep them fresh. Whoever is on grass, whoever is training on grass now, I still give them a week or two to actually perfect their fitness and prove to the medical team as well as the coaching team that they are fit properly to play. So because there's no of what you use is getting a player back, rushing a player back, then he sustains another injury, and you be like, yo, maybe it was a week too soon, So, but yeah, that being said, yeah, did I really have any objection against Varane and Evans partnership at Liverpool? No. So I'd love to see that partnership and see what they can offer going forward. We know Dalot is not going to be in the game, so Wan-Bissaka coming up right back might prove to be some sort of solid bedrock in terms of complementing Varane and what's his name on the kid on the right wing, Anthony, right? So yeah, with the injuries wearing, it's not like if they had actually been fit like today as we're speaking, and they've passed and they've proved beyond reasonable doubt that all 3 of them, Lisandro Martinez, Varane, Casemiro, Eriksen, what's his name? Who else do we have? Lindelof. Lindelof is a personal issue. He had to go for surgery. It's a personal thing. Maguire. So if all 4 of them are actually 100% fit and prove beyond reasonable doubt that they are actually 100% fit by now, as I'm speaking to you during this press conference, it means that Christmas came early for us. We've actually had our Christmas gift. We've actually have, so we can actually have some sort of work on some sort of defensive stability going into the new year. But that's not happened now. So we're gonna take, thank goodness we have a Varane that's fit at the moment. We have an Evans that's fit who hasn't put any foot wrong since his shocked signing, or I would say appointment as a centre back in the club. Yeah, so we can't complain if although we want to, but we can't complain. It is what it is. The transfer window shut months ago. We are almost like 2 weeks away from 2 weeks away from the January transfer window, and yeah, results we could say year and again hasn't gone our way, but we're where we are at the moment with the amount of injuries we've sustained. It can only get better, in my opinion.
100%, 100%. And as we move on to the third question, your team hasn't performed well, hasn't scored for 3 games. You are the lowest scores in the PL. What is the problem? And I see like the heavily focused on Rasmus Højlund again in this one, and then he kind of said, maybe what is going on with the team? What do you need to do? So, what do you think?
For me, the the journalist who asked the questions was trying to be diplomatic, right? He came out as your team, then he quickly moved on to Rasmus Højlund, then he went back to he knew what he was doing. But was this question asked the week where we were having 3 goals in a row? Was this question asked? No, it wasn't asked. Was it? Did they ask this question about when the young man was scoring goals in the Champions League? Right? Did anybody question his talent, or did anybody question his character or personality and how to deal with goal drought? No, right? Because now finally he actually the journalist actually said, "Oh, he made a point. He's young. Of course, he's young. The Champions League might give him a different prospect in terms of opportunities and all of that, right?" But Erik Ten Hag was right when he said of the chances that was created against Liverpool last game, we had the better opportunity to put the ball back of the net. So again, the inexperience of the kid, because we tend to forget this guy's just 20 years old. He barely played some game for Atlanta last season, right? We
100%.
we got him on the scouting report, and as well as the high ceiling that we believe him to have. It's the same thing, in my opinion. People can disagree, but in my opinion, it was the same trajectory we looked at Anthony Martial in getting Anthony Martial that we actually looked in getting this guy. But just that this guy is a little bit bulkier. He knows how to hold the ball. He knows how to involve players in the game, right? So his goal will come. I actually was thinking he was going to score against Liverpool, and he almost proved me right. But his goal, I believe his goal will come, and when he breaks that deadlock, it's going to be like, how it is when the faucet is actually tight, and it's rusty, and you have to get the plumber to come try to loosen it up. Then once you loosen it, there's a way you get to loosen that faucet, and it's never going to get tight anymore, because guess what? The rustiness is gone. So it's all going to be pouring, gushing out, right? So even if he doesn't score every week, I don't see him. Once he breaks his deadlock, it's going to be maybe every other game or what's not, if he's going to get a slow run. But again, the
100%.
kid is young. We'd have to, and Erik Ten Hag was spot on when he said the we'd have to look at it as a team, not more so a player thing, because he made
Yeah.
mention of Rashford. He made mention of Garnacho. He also went as far as making mention of his fullbacks, and saying his fullbacks need to contribute in that regard, because guess what? The striker is not going to carve out. Some strikers can carve out their own goal, but not it's not. You rarely see it nowadays. Gone are the days of Delima Ronaldo. Gone are the days of even Cristiano Ronaldo in the Saudi league, right? Still need some level of support, right? So gone are the
100%.
days where you have strikers, because right now people tend to want strikers, or people tend to want players that actually play off basically 100% all the time off instructions. You don't want players to actually show flair. The minute the players show flair, people label them showboating, disrespectful to opposing team, disrespectful to your manager. And I'm like, yo, but isn't this supposed to be what we love about the game, where a player can actually do the Ronaldinho, where a player can actually do the Cristiano Ronaldo, can actually do things, the Figos, right, where they can actually take the ball, the Zinedine Zidane, and make something out of nothing. But these days, we just want players to just be there, cross the ball, head. But that's aside. I digress. That aside, the team needs to work hand in hand with the striker. We've got the striker. Now we need to make. Last season, we were walking balls for Rashford. Whether we like it or not, we were actually walking the ball for Rashford, because the manager told them, yo, listen, we don't have a striker. Our strikers are injured. Ronaldo left. Anthony Martial is doing what he has to do. We have to get Rashford scoring. And they all walked the ball for Rashford. And before we move on to the next question, I know you want to move on to the next question. Mark, let me remind the people that Christian Eriksen not in our current lineup now, not in our current team at the moment. It's like a what's the word now? It's a deficit for us in terms of creativity. Like I usually say, Bruno Fernandes is our only out and out creativity we have at the moment. Imagine a Christian Eriksen and alongside a Bruno Fernandes, even a Casemiro had some couple of assists last season. So this team, I think this team is actually missing core members that can actually do the work of creating the ball for the striker. Once we get a bit of creativity in that team, trust me, Rasmus, or not just Rasmus Højlund, every other person in the team would flourish with goals. Because guess what? It's a team game, not actually a manager's starting 11 nor an individual 11. It's actually a team sport. So everybody needs to. The right winger needs to know that he has a striker. The left winger needs to know that he has a striker. If the chance to shoot, if the chances to create for your striker gives you a better outcome as to you just taking the shot, how about you just do that and let the team celebrate a win and everybody move on?
100%. And then he was asked about the Super League. What does that bring? And his answer was, let's refer to what the club's response on the subject, and he moved on. I think that was brilliant.
I applaud him 100% for that one, because that's the right thing to say. Move on from it.
And then you know what happened? They decided they need to ask the question again. What are your
in a different format?
on the European Super League? And you know what he said to them? He said, well, if I have to give a judgment on it, I need to do more in-depth research before I give a judgment on it. As far as I'm concerned right now, I can't say much. And I agree with him. I think he's dealing with the press a lot better now. I think he's becoming more manageable in terms of how he manages the information he divulges the press and how he expresses himself,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's pretty normal. And then they went on to ask him, about the transfer window in January. It opens soon. Do you think you need reinforcements for your squad? And he was, adamant that, the squad that I have right now, I'm happy with it. But we have a lot of players out. And if I could have all of them back and fit and available for selection, then I think we have a good squad and a squad that, is capable. And I would tend to agree with him, although we all do know that there's like one or two players in the squad that he was trying to get out in the summer. So maybe they might be on the road in January and it might lead to one or two incomings, as we are probably set as sell to buy right now. And if we look at Maguire and McTominay with their current form, we could probably get like easy 70 million for the two of them, right? Don't you think?
Yeah. So, but when you ask a manager about a transfer window, what do you expect to get from that question? Do you expect to get, oh, we're going to be doing business, or so it's you end up getting a diplomatic answer. Jose Mourinho has already said it. He said no manager is ever satisfied with his current squad. Not
100%.
They never get satisfied at the end of the season or during the summer transfer, let alone the middle of the season where the injuries and everything is coming. So no manager, but they would all give you a diplomatic answer, right? But that being said, most fans will hear that and be like, oh, he's saying he's more he's satisfied with the squad. They wouldn't actually put on their reasoning cap to actually reason past why he's saying what he's saying. It's just answering the questions that is being put in front of him. Now, if you offer this guy an experienced striker in January and another midfielder that's just going to cover for the until the end of the season, do you think he's going to say, no, I don't want that? Do you think he's going to tell you, no, I don't want that? No, he's going to tell you that he needs the player. But to answer their question, he's going to be diplomatic. Now, when he said that once he gets his players back fit, and if he could get all of them fit and ready for the run towards the end of the season, that he thinks he'd have what's the word he used, like he's happy with his squad and all of that. I think if we get our team players, if we get our players back, our players that we know from last season that got us to the 3rd position, right, and the cup, if we get those players from January until May, all maybe 85% of all of them playing 85%. Most of them play 85% of the games remaining in the season, bro. I'm telling you now, we would top 4. It would be a lockdown. Top 4 would be something that would lock down, because with the desire, with the hunger we've seen from players like Casemiro, players like even Amrabat, players like Varane, even as we people don't tend to believe it, but players like Maguire, with the hunger you see from them, they've shown. Now, I know I'm one of the fans that actually don't really like. Not like I don't like the guy. I don't have any problem to do with it. I don't have any problem with him. He's a human being as myself. But in terms of the way he plays his football, right? I don't like it. McTominay, right? I always say McTominay is not a starter in my book, but players like that, they have the hunger, so if you get other players coming on board with that same desire and hunger and a little bit of top qualities in terms of what we have now, man, top 4 will be a lockdown. Top 4 would be a lockdown. I say that again. Top 4 would be a lockdown. Just want this injury thing, the injury plague, to just let us be for another 4 months, or if not, just let us be for another 5 months. Let's just have a second half of the season injury free, and we would be a problem. You see that statement Aguero made when he said, never write United off. They would actually be a problem to anybody. Yes, we will. I'm going to say this: in about 10 years that we've been having this uncertainty in our club, Liverpool's only finished above us, what, 3 times? 3 times.
Twice, actually, to be fair.
Okay, so now imagine we. I don't want to even go about it. Let's not. That's for a different show, because
let's move on to the other question.
Yeah, let's move on to the next question, bro.
How do you think Rasmus Højlund is coping with the pressure going on and going so long without scoring a goal in the league as a young striker? Well, he was asked this question, and I think he answered it pretty well, because, in my honest opinion, in the last 3 games is where I first started seeing some frustration from Rasmus Højlund. You know what I mean? But based on that is 3 games out of, I think he played 12 or 13 so far this season, full games. And as a young 20-year-old, I think, how much could you really expect from a young striker? This is a young lad that came with, he clearly has the ability. He can, not only could he play through the middle, I've seen him play off the right for Atalanta. He has that breakaway pace. He has very good ball control. He's very good on the ball. He knows how to get the passes in. I just think the stress and the pressure on him has been making him, either a little bit too anxious to go at a ball, or, making him overthink his run. So he's either a step ahead or a step behind in the play in the last few games. And some people might say, maybe he doesn't have it, but you know what that says to me? He's just a player frustrated by the fact that he hasn't scored any goals, and the be all and end all is that it's on him, the responsibility to score goals. You know what I mean? And no matter how much anyone tells him, bro, don't worry about it, he's always going to feel like he's responsible. And what I think is the moment he breaks that duck and gets a goal, bro, the floodgates are opening. He's going to be a force. What are you thinking, Drex?
100%. 100%. I just feel like every other human on earth, right? Especially those with integrity, those that actually love what they do, would when are faced with a situation like Rasmus is facing now, be it in your workspace, in sport, or in any other place, right? You would actually feel the pressure. You would actually feel the anxiety. You want to actually get people off your back, right? You'd want to actually make a mark for yourself because guess what? He was bought primarily to score goals, right? Help his team put the ball at the back of the net. He's able to do it in, which is for me it's a very good thing. He's able to do it in the Champions League, right? So
100%.
there is we've seen it because if he wasn't scoring in the Champions, if he didn't score in the Champions League and it's not scoring in the Premier League, then the searchlight would be so bright on him. But we've seen it, cool, calm, collected. He scored a very good goal in the Champions League.
Scored quite a few good goals in the Champions League.
Yeah, so you could actually see that this guy is actually composed when it comes to scoring the goals, right? But it's the Premier League one, which in him, don't forget this kid is a United fan. Don't forget this kid is actually a United fan. So that's one pressure on the one hand, and on the second hand, on the other hand, is the fact that he's the one leading the line in terms of the attacking line. So he needs to deliver. So that pressure on himself is putting that pressure on himself. And I still find out that I still like the way that with that same pressure, he's not cracking down. He's not like, he still gives good performance on the pitch, if you know what I mean. He still tries to get everybody involved, right? So it's like the question the journalist asked, this question is actually a fair question. How do you think he's taking it? How do you think he's coping with it, right? For a young kid, some people might not cope properly with it. So it's left for the manager to actually tell him, yo, before you think too deep about the situation, look at your goals in the Champions League. Look at how cool, calm, and collected you were when you were scoring these goals. Look at your goals in the call it, the Europe qualifiers, and when you go away, look at your goals for Atalanta. You can do this. Don't put undue pressure on yourself. Get the team involved. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
To get the team, do what you can to your ability. The goals will come. Keep telling him himself, the goals will come. Don't force it. Don't force it. And when it comes, you'll be amazed at the ease with which he came. Don't force it, So I think he would score, like you said. Once he does, the floodgates will be open. But the manager needs he needs his manager now more than ever. He needs his manager and he needs the fans now to be backing him, not trying to draw. Because all I seen on Twitter now is people trying to use Rasmus to gain impression to get Elon's money, and it doesn't make sense to me. If rival fans are doing it, I understand. But you, a United fan, trying to be on your players' back, especially a young kid like Rasmus, and you're doing this. That's why when people were going at Garnacho last season, I'm like, how do you even do that? How do you do that? You, a 38 or a 40-year-old young adult, or I would say young adult, or you're trying to bully a kid and you're doing it off what? You know what I'm saying? You're trying to bully somebody just because you don't like them or because they take a position where your preferred player is supposed to play. You're trying to, so it doesn't make sense to me. So we us as United fans need to back this boy. We've always said we wanted an experienced striker to be alongside with him to like share the workload, right? But you know how the club is run. They don't think the way we as fans think. So it is what it is.
100%.
But I believe the boy would get his chance. If not this weekend, maybe against Villa. I always say, and people say I spam, but it is. It might end up scoring this weekend.
100%. You never know what could happen. And, to be honest, my bro, I'm going to say it like this, right? I just wish Garnacho pulls up next to him and be like, here, look, the phone. Ronaldo's on the phone to you. And Ronaldo says to him, hey, kid, I watch your games. You work hard. You know what I mean? You have it. I could see it. You know what I mean? But have some faith. And the next thing I would, if I was to say, I think Ronaldo would say the same thing to him. Sometimes when you're watching Garnacho or Anthony on the ball, you seem to be standing with the defender next to him. Take a few steps forward in a line, walk in a straight line, but keep yourself on side. So instead of walking towards the goal, you kind of walking across the face of goal, whether it be to your left or to your right. And when you see their head go down, your body's already in motion. So it's easier for you to just immediately speed that up into the box. It gets you a step and a half faster. You know what I mean? So it gives you more time to get on a ball that's flashing across the goal line, or to get there ahead of the defender to a cross that's coming in. You know what I mean? So I think these are little
Yeah.
things that I would have liked to have Ronaldo at the club still, being able to give Rasmus that kind of advice, because I think with the work ethic Rasmus has shown and his attitude, I think he would have been, whew, he would have, Ronaldo would have lit him like a fuse. You know
See,
what I mean? Like,
yeah, like I
pass the
said,
torch.
don't forget this boy. This boy is actually a United fan. So having Ronaldo in the team, an idol for him, giving him some words of wisdom and some level of advice in terms of how to position his body and what's not, in some striker sharing in the knowledge of Ronaldo. That would be
Immense.
like that would be so immense, man. That's like finding a diamond in the rough. Man,
100%.
it's like when you walk in the desert for so long and somebody just offers you a very cool jar of water. That is what it will be, man. But that's why we as United fans said this kid would do well if he has an experienced striker that's sharing the load with him. Anthony
Yeah,
Martial, it's not much of that. I don't know. Anthony Martial is not. It's not like he's pulling up trees to even lead as an example, right? So
100%.
yeah, so that's
And let's get to
that's
the
my take.
final question. Let's get to the final question. The press was a bit nice. They showed some warm sentiments this Christmas season when they asked Erik ten Hag, "What about you? How are you spending your Christmas, coach? Are you doing it with your family?" And I think this was a nice gesture from the press after all the rubbish they've gave Ten Hag this season, after all the agendas that they're spreading and still trying to spread. And even though some of the press even blundered themselves and said to Erik ten Hag to his face that, we like when you lose. We like to write stories about United's dismay. So, I think the manager's answer never ceases to amaze me whenever he's asked, like, when the season's coming to end or there's going to be a break, what is he going to do? Is he going to take time off and spend it with family? And his answer seems to always, for me, revolve around, well, the team. And if I don't have it, and if I could work out what I'm working on with the team and get those things handled, if I have extra time, spare time, then I will take that time and spend with my family. What are your thoughts on that question, Drex? Drex?
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had the thing on mute. Sorry. So you put it right when you said it was a nice gesture from the journalist, right? But in my mind's eye, sometimes I try not to be too optimistic with them journalists. They could be trying to find something when there's nothing, right? But let's put that aside and just be clear-headed here. Nice gesture, nice to think to try to think nice of the manager after the turmoil he's had for the first part of the season, to try to cool off some steam with his family, people that could actually caress his bruised wounds and all of that, right? So it's a nice gesture, but you always know that this guy is going to tell you his team. He put, if he has to be, if personal reason has to come in, it has to be one that he cannot shove under the bed, or cannot shove it under the table or something, right? He would have to take it. But for him, it's his team comes first, which is nice to actually know that a manager actually puts his team first. And people say, but all managers put their team first, but you don't, sometimes hearing it or to hear it from somebody, it just gives you that extra calmness to say, okay, this guy said it, so I'm gonna hold him to his words, right? So, but all in all, I just hope we get the result so that the festive season is one that comes with ease for him, so he can actually get a result against West Ham, get a result against Aston Villa, and get a result against a newly fired up, that they might be fired up, Nottingham Forest, and just end the year with a sweet point, sweet victory or sweet result, and so the man can actually spend some time, like even if we all know maybe his partner or his wife is with him, yeah, but it's, you don't want to be having the holidays period with so many concern in terms of result, right, and performance wise. So we just want result to go our way, performance going our way, so the man can actually have a relaxed holiday festivity, just as the fans, or just as I want the fans to actually have that as well. Because a bad result puts most of us on the edge, and it puts the manager way closer to the manager is more edgy than any fan. You People tend to think the fans are edgy. You need to be in the manager's position to know how edgy it is for the managers, and how they can actually take a break. They just have to walk around the clock, find the problem, try to fix a problem, try to do this one, try to attend to that. Right? So it's all, yeah. Summary is just, I mean, my conclusion is just, we get the good result for the manager so that he can actually cool off, the fans can cool off, and we can have a broader view with a positive outcome going into the new year, and you hope things gets better from there. Sales, the whatever 25%, or be it somebody else is jumping in to buy the full club at 100%, and it can happen. I just hope for a good year.
A 100%. I totally agree with that statement. You know, everybody wants to have a good year. You know what I mean? And with the way things are going right now, it's always one of those things where you can only say, you know what, let's just, you know, buckle in, get behind the manager and the team, understand that, yeah, it wasn't going so well, but there were so many different things happening in and around, not just with the team on the field, but off the field. You know, the takeover, you know, the protest out of Mason Greenwood, you know, and it's just one of those things. What can I say, Drex? It's a difficult one, and sure, we could be upset. Sure, as fans, you could say this is below our standards. A word which, honestly, for the longest while, Drex, I've just been saying to myself, you know what? That word is such a buzzword right now, such a buzzword, and it hasn't really done anything. You know, it hasn't really done anything. What has it done? It hasn't done anything. Not to you, not to me, you know, not for anyone. It hasn't done anything. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So I'm just being honest when I say this. I honestly just wish everyone who says that could just take a little, you know, bit of a deep breath, stand back and say to themselves, listen, if we're now going to say we have standards, where were our standards for the last 10 seasons before Erik Ten Hag came in? Because if I have to say and stand by anything right now, then I definitely would be the one that's saying, you know what? Since Erik Ten Hag came in, he's actually the one who's shown me that he's trying to maintain a standard. Right, and with his with what he's done last season, taking our worst United team that we've seen the season before, and saying, when we all as fans believed Ralph Ragnick and said we want this team chopped and changed in heart surgery, open heart surgery, 10 players in, 10 players out. We haven't had that. And when we were saying 10 players in, 10 players out, we didn't include David De Gea. And I just want to highlight that. So that's 11 players, and that's just a start. That's a starting 11, my guy. You understand what I'm saying? And while I totally agree that the rebuild and the way he's implementing his system could have been done in the first year, you know, in going with reality, we are where we are. We can't change
Mm.
the way we started the process and the way the process is going right now and how it's going.
Mm-hmm.
But what I can say is if you look at his first 2 season stats that we had up in our last stream last week, you know, in his first season, he already has more wins than Mikel Arteta. He will have more wins than Mikel Arteta. You know, he has more wins than Jurgen Klopp. And, you know, if we give this guy time, because Jurgen Klopp got 4 years, Arteta got 4 years, if this guy gets another year or two, and this is what I think a lot of rival fans, YouTubers, and pundits are afraid of, especially the Man City pundits, like guys like LB, you know what I mean? You know, especially guys like LB. And to be honest, I'd have to name another few fans because, you know, like we have a few fans that go LUHG, love United, hate Glazers.
Mm.
And yeah, I love United and I dislike the Glazers, but I can't really say I hate anyone. You know what I mean? Because hate is a really strong
Yeah,
word. And I
of
could say I
course.
dislike them for different reasons, but that's what I could say. And at the end of the day, you can be LUHG all you want.
The
But at
question
the
is,
end
the
of the
question is,
day, when you're a
the
fan that
question is,
sounds,
yeah,
but just let me
yeah,
finish. When you're a fan
yeah,
that sounds exactly like Lee Gunner, right? And I want you to remember Lee Gunner was Arteta out from the first 6 months, right?
yeah.
And Arteta is number 1 in the league right now. Last season, they finished second. They're in the Champions League. They qualified for the round of 16. Is Lee Gunner still Arteta out? I don't even know. But I could tell you this much. There are lots of streamers and United fans like Terry at the Football Terrace. I love the guy. You know, I loved his show. But recently he's just been like, I don't know, I think he's lost the plot a bit. He's like Arteta, he's like Ten Hag out, this is not good enough, whatever, whatever. But 2 years ago, he was the one who was telling Arsenal fans, I can see what Arteta is building, especially when he was able to get all those outgoings in the club. You know what I mean? Which Erik Ten
Mm-hmm.
Hag has yet to experience outgoings in the club. And a lot of fans, they make all these excuses for why Erik Ten Hag is not good and why it's not the fault of the, how I would put it, the Glazers or the, it's just talent ID or whatever. But then they love some of the players that he bought based on his talent ID, but they hate him for the fact that the other players might not have delivered where they expected to. You know what I mean? So far. But at the same time, they make excuses for other coaches that they don't make for Erik Ten Hag because look, you know, Spurs went on a 4-game losing streak and everyone said they had injuries. They had 2 players injured and 2 players suspended. So what were the injuries? You know what I mean? The same thing with Man City. They have 2 players injured. 1 player injured, really. 2 players injured and 1 player suspended. He's now back. And, you know, they were losing games here, there, and everywhere. They're 4th. And no one's, you know, getting on their cases. So I'm just saying, you know, what if all these pundits, they might be more experienced than I am. They might even be better than I am. But what if they got it wrong? What if they all were saying, give this one time, give that one time, which they were right on. But what if they're making a mistake when they're saying, no, Erik Ten Hag out? What if we give him time? What if all the rival pundits are saying, you know what, I'm scared of what this guy can actually do if he really does implement a system like the Ajax system? Maybe we should help them get rid of this guy before he gets cooking. You know what I mean? So that's just the way I'm looking at it right now because I think the next half of the season is going to show and pay dividends for Manchester United. I think they're going to do very well. I think it's going to exceed the expectations of fans and a lot of the YouTubers and content creators around in the football space because I think with this week rest, which United has not had in probably about 20 something weeks of football, you know what I mean? This week's rest is something that might be actually able to help the team re-energize, refresh themselves, and kick on and play some better football. What do you think, Drex?
Yeah, yeah, just touch back on the people actually called people that actually wants the manager out and people that actually, you talked about Lee Gunner wanting Ateta out and all of that, right? Yeah, but there's something that they see. I don't try to fault as much. I don't try to even fault them because there's something that they are looking forward to that they don't get in return. So because of that, they just jump on to a conclusion and say, okay, this manager out, that manager out, right? I don't fault them. Terry, I don't fault Terry. Terry's all doing it for the show. Terry tells you most of the time it's all entertainment and all of that, right? So big up Terry. I like Terry, but I don't. You see those. I'm not. I'm not like you said. How do you? Hate is a strong word, right? You were saying give Arteta time. You could see 2 years down the line. You could see where it's gonna go. But for your manager that has the wrongest of structures behind him, you want him out after 6 months or after what? After yeah, we've not even had proper. Have we had 18 months of football? Not take away the transfer window and all of that. Have we had 18? Is this man had 18 months of football? Mark, do you think he's had 18 months of football?
Not yet. If we're going on football seasons, he's only had 12 months according to my calculations. You know,
So
a
that's
football
1
season.
year. 1 year,
1 year
and you
of
want
actual
him
football.
out. You know the crap he has. You're one of the people that preach the not a penny more thing against the Glazers and all of that. You know how bad the structure is, but yet you want the manager out. Make it make sense. So sometimes I just look past the thumbnail and the shenanigans and just go, you guys are actually doing it for the show. Kudos to you. You like you'd have to make money. You'd have to do what you have to do to get your pay. I don't envy you for that. It's like the caption, love United, hate Glazers. How do you hate? That's why I tell you I don't hate them. I just dislike them. I don't want them near the club. How do you hate somebody that's trying to feed his family? How do you do that?
It's crazy, man. You know,
How do you do so? For me, when they're doing what they do, I tell them most of the time, even on Twitter, I say, like Faz is saying he's Erik ten Hag out, but you're one of the people that actually said they should give Arteta time. You're one of the persons that say, okay, get this player, get that player. But how do you get those players when the manager has a very unbalanced structure? Not even, he doesn't have a structure behind him. So I just look past them and just say, you know what, fair play to you. You're trying to feed yourself. You're trying to feed your family. There's an opportunity for you to do that. Kudos to you. But don't do it trying to make people feel like they don't have a brain, or trying to, like they say, if you don't like my opinion, don't subscribe to it. I don't subscribe to it. Guess what? You're putting it on a public space. Like, it's Twitter. Twitter is not your private stuff. It's public. It could appear on my feed. Doesn't mean I'm following you, right? Most of the time, I don't even comment. If you say something that's I don't agree to, I don't comment. I don't even slander you. I just walk past. But that being said, people have the right to their opinion. They have their, whether it's garbage they're spewing out, they have the right to it, right? But we just need some level of structure behind this guy before we could actually drop the axe down and say cut the line. You can't cut the line when the same structure has actually sacked managers that have track records. Even people were saying, I was part of the people that actually said David Moyes didn't do a good job. But guess what? David Moyes had his track record at Everton before he came to United. He had a track record, right? So you knew what. So you don't sack people because of your incompetence and put it on them and let the fans are sucking that up and feel like, okay, that's the right thing to do when you've not laid down a structure for them.
100%.
So until they lay down a good structure for Erik ten Hag, like I've already explained this before. People might pull up my previous video and say, but you wanted him out. I say I want him out because this club don't have a right to sack another manager who has some sort of record going for them. You don't get incompetence people trying to tarnish the image of good people. That's why I said I want him to just go in. But you guys have made me understand that it's not easy said. I've said, okay, fine. But for me to start preaching Erik ten Hag out, then you'd have given him the right structure to operate in the right structure. Then if he's not operating to the full optimal level that is required of him, then you can let him go. But at the moment, you need structure. And if he doesn't get that structure, we're just going around chasing shadows. We're just chasing
100%.
shadows. We're just chasing
100%.
shadows. That's my final words, man.
And Thank you, everyone, and that's Drex's final words. And it was a good show, I would say, in the sense that the manager's press conference was very interesting. The questions would relieve some information that fans might have in their heads about what is going to go on in the January transfer window. As you all know, guys, I'm doing the transfer daily update twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays every week. So look forward to that. This Monday is Boxing Day for a lot of us fans from the Western Hemisphere. A lot of us are celebrating Christmas as we go into it. Today is the eve of Christmas Eve. It's about to be tomorrow. I mean, the eve of Christmas Eve is tomorrow. So, Sunday is going to be actually Christmas Eve, and we're going to have football tonight. We have games going on, and we're going to have games going on tomorrow. We're going to have games going on Sunday. Guys, I know everyone is preparing to have a good time with their family. Please keep safe and be sure to, live, love, and share with everyone. And, try to be cautious in everything that you do. You know what I mean? This is that season where all kind of weird things tend to happen. A lot of people are hustling and bustling to try to get gifts and try to do shopping, last minute stuffs, get things done. And, you might just be overlooking some sense of caution. So I urge everyone to please pay attention to those things. I thank everyone for joining us tonight. Merry Christmas and season greetings. Best wishes from us at the Elite Footy Talks TV family, from myself, MarkN MUFCFAN, and Drex. And guys, you know what we say? It's Manchester United, right? Don't forget tonight. We are also going to be popping up on the happy hour eve before Christmas night. Special this Friday, guys. There's going to be questions. So guys, jump into the stream and let's know what you're thinking. You know what I mean? And for all those who are new to my channel, this is a brand new space, a United fan channel, but it's also an EPL fan channel. We're going to be talking about lots of different EPL teams. It's going to be very expansive coming into the new year, as I have a few friends of mine who also cover other teams. One of them who covers Borussia Dortmund, he's going to come into the channel and do a few streams whenever Borussia Dortmund has games, do some match reactions as well. And I have some friends coming in like Chelsea Dan and others. Shea, Arsenal fan, is always popping in. He's going to come in and pop in and do some possible, reactions to the Arsenal games for the new year. Guys, look forward to it, because we're going to be here every day bringing you streams with the updates, breaking news, everything happening in Manchester United and English Premier League. Guys, stay tuned, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. I hope you all have a great evening. It's been your boy again, MarkN MUFCFAN, and Drex, Admiral Drex, with respect. Put some respect on his name, guys, and we will be seeing you all. Hope you all have a good night. Thank you for joining us. It's been our pleasure to bring this manager's press conference to you, daily update reaction. Guys, stay tuned. Get in the comments. Leave us in the non-live section. Give us your reaction. What are your opinions? What you want to see for your team? Manchester United, be it any team in the Premier League. Let us know what you're thinking. And we out.
Oh.